The past decade of baseball has showcased some of the best pitchers to ever do it, and fans are truly blessed to have been able to bear witness to such talent in their lifetime. DeGrom, Kershaw, Mad Bum, Scherzer. All these names and many more jump off the page and resonate with baseball fans immediately. They have God-given talent and velocity, pitch arsenal, mechanics, and everything else an ace needs to, well, be an ace. But if you asked me to pick my favorite, it wouldn't be any of those guys. In fact, my pick is a bit unorthodox. R.A. Dickey is a former first-round draft pick who sputtered in and out of the minors for the better part of 7 years. He was finally able to find a home on the New York Mets and blossomed into the best knuckleballer in the league, inheriting that title from Tim Wakefield of the Boston Red Sox. In 2012, R.A. put together the best season by a knuckleball pitcher ever. Dickey went 20-6 with a 2.73 ERA. He led the league with 230 strikeouts, 5 complete games, and 3 shutouts. He was named the Cy Young over the likes of Clayton Kershaw, a prime Johnny Cueto, and Craig Kimbrell at the peak of his closing abilities. As impressive as this feat was, I recently discovered that Dickey's journey of getting there was somehow even more unlikely. It was already wild enough that Dickey throws basically a gimmick pitch as his main weapon, but when I learned about his backstory, it changed my entire perspective on his whole career. And that's why I'm here today, to share it with you. So, if you feel like joining me, let me tell you the roller coaster ride that is R.A. Dickey's life, because he truly is baseball's most unlikely ace. I find it very difficult to assign personality to athletes sometimes. Most of the time, their true character stays hidden from public eye, as well as much of their history. For a while, Dickey's past was cloaked in mystery. But when he was thrust into the spotlight and prompted to reveal his journey after becoming an ace, it shocked fans everywhere. The following is a clip from an interview R.A. did for a channel called I Am Second. I want to give a trigger warning to those who have suffered from sexual abuse, because the interview involves content relating to that. You can skip to this point in the video if you wish to avoid hearing about his story.
The first time that it ever happened was with a female babysitter. I was 8. You know, your mom drops you off and nobody's there except you and her, and you know, the next thing you know, you're in the dark and you're sweating and your clothes are off and you don't know why and you don't know what's going on, and it's a very confusing thing. My most vivid memory is the smells. The smell of the room, the smell of the dark, the smell of my own perspiration. You know, it just smelled like something was happening that shouldn't be happening. I remember like about the 3rd or 4th time thinking, okay, just do what you're gonna do and let's get it over with. But the incident later in that summer when a male assaulted me was worse. It was borderline violent. Well, it was violent. I was by kind of a garage, dilapidated garage. It was a stranger. I knew that I was about to be raped. I knew it was coming. I went somewhere else, and then I came back. It was awful.
R.A. Dickey was sexually abused multiple times. He's a survivor. For some reason, I never thought this kind of thing could happen to an athlete. They're posed as these warriors at the top of their respective crafts, untouchable and making millions of dollars. How could anything so traumatic happen to any of them? And how could someone even make it to the highest level carrying the weight of such trauma? Well, R.A. Dickey did. Now he's not just a great pitcher, he's a pitcher who's carried weight, emotional weight, traumatic weight, his entire life. Dickey's hard work paid off, though. The Texas Rangers drafted him in the 1st round with the 18th overall pick out of the University of Tennessee. But, later on, they discovered that he was all but missing an ulnar collateral ligament in his elbow, something every pitcher needs to compete without risking career-ending injury. In fact, how Dickey pitched for so many years in the first place was an absolute mystery to doctors. Dickey's contract offer plummeted from $810,000 to $75,000. In the aftermath of this revelation, Dickey spent 9 grueling years fighting in the minor leagues for a shot at the big time. With his past hanging on his back like a monkey, and the newfound revelation that there was something wrong with his arm, Dickey's minor league career did not get off to an ideal start. In fact, he was on the verge of getting cut when pitching coach Oral Hershiser suggested that Dickey start throwing a knuckleball. He had demonstrated that he had a pretty good knuckleball in some games, but never relied on the pitch fully. But Dickey needed an out. His money pitch, his sinking fastball, had dropped from 92 miles per hour to 86 miles per hour. The knuckleball was surely Dickey's only hope of ever making it as a big league player, but he did. Dickey was slated to be the anchor of the 2006 Rangers rotation, but in his first start, R.A. Dickey tied a major league record by individually allowing 6 home runs in a single game. He was demoted the next day. There's no footage from that faithful day against the Detroit Tigers, but what we do know is what came next, as this game led Dickey to his darkest moment, arguably ever, in a life of very traumatic events. Again, I want to warn viewers about the clip I'm about to show, as the interview reveals some themes of self-harm and suicide. If that's something that makes you uncomfortable or something you do not wish to see, skip to this point in the video.
In my darkest moment, I was sitting in a driveway with a rubber hose duct taped to the exhaust pipe and run into the driver's side window with the window rolled up and a towel packed around the slit that that window created, with my hand on the key. The only thing that saved me in that moment was that feeling that God was sitting right beside me in the passenger seat and whispering to me all the while, "Do not turn that key, I've got something else for you." And so I didn't.
Validation and desire brew a very messy concoction. It's so easy to feel invisible sometimes, unwanted more. It's a hard thing to deal with, and a desperation for validity is something I struggle with too. As much as I love baseball, part of the reason for creating this channel was that very thing. Validity, the feeling that you're liked amongst a community, that you are seen. Dickey's personal battles continued into 2007 because of that very thing, validity. But his demons were much harder to quell. A year after becoming a footnote in Major League history for all the wrong reasons, Dickey was in Oklahoma playing for a minor league affiliate. He attempted to swim across the Oklahoma River in an attempt to become a folk legend in baseball, but he found himself caught in undertow and rapid currents. He couldn't see shoreline. His dire circumstances left him with just 2 options. He could press on and try and finish the arbitrary trek to secure praise, or he could turn back and try and reach the shore before he ran out of strength. As he fell under, he found one last burst of adrenaline that propelled him near shore, where fellow teammate Grant Balfour discovered him. Dickey had survived again, but this time, he wasn't going to take it for granted. Dickey was a sexual abuse survivor. He grew up poor. He was robbed of the one thing that was going to give him a career, and now he had just defied death in the middle of Oklahoma. The odds were never going to be in his favor, but now he knew that, and I think he embraced it because of what happened next. Dickey became a better pitcher after this event, but he still bounced around MLB teams for quite a bit until 2010. With his newfound motivation and attitude toward baseball, Dickey landed with the Mets and had immediate success as a part of their rotation in 2010. He was reliable in 2010 and 2011, but he took a huge step forward here in 2012. It's June 13th, 2012, and R.A. Dickey is about to embark on a 2-game stretch that will solidify him in Major League history forever. Game 1 comes against the Tampa Bay Rays at Tropicana Field. Dickey opens his first frame by striking out Desmond Jennings and Carlos Pena back-to-back. Quickly, there's 2 out and nobody on. B.J. Upton bats third and grounds 1 to third, where David Wright boots the barehanded play, and Upton is rewarded with an infield single. You see that single right there? That would be the last one the Rays get all game. This will take us to the 9th inning, where Elliot Johnson grounds 1 to third and David Wright boots the throw, giving the Rays their first base runner since the first inning. Current Mets pitching coach Jeremy Hefner gets warmed up in the pen. Thought that was kind of fun. Later in the inning, a ball gets away from Mike Nickius because he's catching a knuckleballer, so that makes sense. Johnson takes second. Then, later on, another pass ball. Johnson takes third. Jennings grounds out to short, but the runner is able to score, and so Dickey is awarded an unearned run. He's still only allowed one hit, and it's still technically a shutout. Weird game for a weird pitcher. Dickey induces the pop fly from Carlos Pena right after this, and in just 106 pitches, he locks down his first shutout of the year for the New York Mets. Mets win 9-1, and Dickey has a great outing. No hard feelings between him and Nickius. Now we go to next week. Dickey has an impressive 10-1 record and a 2.20 ERA, and he's facing off against Jake Arrieta, who hasn't become good yet. Little do the Orioles know, they're about to get bit by the one-hitter bug as well. Chris Davis goes down first. Then, it's Matt Wieters. Wilson Betemit doesn't stand a chance. But Jolly, what about future World Series MVP Steve Pearce? Sit down, dude. Sit down. Dickey walks a batter, but doesn't give Brian Roberts the chance to capitalize, and he's through 3. Check out this nasty pitch by Dickey. That is an unbelievable knuckleball. Buck Showalter loves it, you can tell by his face. Matt Wieters comes up because he wants seconds, so he gets another strikeout. Babyface Mark Reynolds says, I'll have what he's having, and he goes down to the knuckleball as well. Dickey's now notched 8 strikeouts through 5 no-hit innings, but then Wilson Betemit is going to end that all with 2 outs in the 5th, the Orioles' first hit of the night. Maybe they'll get more. Probably not, though. Jake Arrieta's also tossing a fantastic game, but then Ike Davis kind of dumps on his grave a little bit, and it's a grand slam for the Mets, who go up 4-0 in the 6th. So, with a newfound lead, Dickey gets back out there and strikes out Chris Davis one more time. Wieters doesn't let his good pal Chris stand alone, so he notches another strikeout himself. Check out this disgusting knuckleball that just wiggles around at the top of the zone. That thing was crazy. Dickey walks another in the 8th, but he gets Steve Pearce one more time. Right after, Seth Smith is going to strike out on his own as well. That's 11 strikeouts for Dickey through 8. J.J. Hardy goes down looking as well, leaving it up to Chris Davis.
1-2 to Davis.
Dickey joins the list of just 10 pitchers ever to throw back-to-back one-hitters. He's the first guy to do it since the 80s. Here are just a few of the improbable stats from Dickey's 2-game run, including breaking the record for consecutive scoreless innings by a Mets pitcher, and also, if either game had been a no-hitter, it would have been the 2nd of the month for the Mets after going 50 years without one. And he's officially a legend, something he always wanted to be. His demons aren't gone, but they're quelled for sure, because Dickey's found something greater in himself. He reinvented himself. He changed his identity. He changed the story. Later this season, he becomes the only knuckleballer in MLB history to win the Cy Young Award. How do you like that for legendary?